Hi guys, this is Nancy Miller Illustration, and I wanted to share with you guys a extension for Photoshop that is great for organizing your brushes. So sit tight and I'm going to go over some of the basics for how to use this extension called Brush Box that I found. Okay, so normally in Photoshop, if I'm working with the brushes that I've made, I go to my brushes panel. Okay, so yeah, you can organize them in folders, but I find that that's okay. It's not great. And you collect a lot of brushes over time, and I found like it's very overwhelming. So I Googled and I found something called Brush Box. Okay, so if you already have some kind of brush extension organizer, you have to uninstall it before you install Brush Box, otherwise it could conflict. So a little bit about Brush Box. Okay, so it was made by Derek Barth, and he has a Gumroad store. You can purchase it for $15 for a single license. He has a help guide and frequently asked questions section, but I'm going to go over some of the basics to get you started. So after you follow the directions, Mac or PC, and you install it, I'm actually on a Mac. Okay, you can go to Window and you would go to something called Extensions, and then you checkmark. See how mine is checkmark Brush Box, and then that panel will open up. I have mine kind of docked in the left-hand corner of it. I just like it right underneath my swatches. Okay, so I can go ahead and now make folders, but I can tag them with a color. Okay, so I have these folders. I've tagged them with a color. I can then go ahead and delete them if I want to. So I'm going to delete this one here. I'm going to start it again. Okay, so I can change the size of the preview of the brushes. So if I want to drag the slider bar just like you would normally to look at your brushes in your brushes panel. So I like having about 5 across. Okay. I want to make a new folder. So if I left click on the new folder icon at the bottom, then I double left click on the folder's name, I'm going to call it test. Okay, so now I've got this new folder and I'm going to go ahead and put some properties with that folder or option settings. So I'm going to right click on it, go to group options. And so this is where I can go ahead and specify the word test that I've named it. Like, do I want to give it a color? Do I want it bold? Yes, I want to tag it with a color. I'm going to move the slider bar so I get my hues, go to blue, and it's actually going to make the word test blue. Okay, it doesn't actually make the folder blue. I got to left click out of it here and then hit OK. So now the word is bold and blue. In order to make the folder associated with the color for all the brushes that are in it, I'm going to right click, go to color, and then I'm going to make it blue. So now the bar is blue. Now, if I want to move my slider bar to a brush that is not in a folder, like here I have one, I can left click and drag the brush in here. And I didn't have to import it. It automatically picked up what brushes I had in Photoshop. And then let me take that same brush, move it up. See, every time I move it into the folder, it applies that color. So there is the blue right here, which is super nice, okay? All right. Now, say I want to tag some of my brushes as my favorites, okay? So I'm going to right click and just left click favorite, and then a little star, gold star pops up in the left hand corner. Now, if I want to know which of my brushes are my favorites that I tend to use all the time, I just left click on the star and then it'll pop up down here. Okay, so that's pretty cool. And then if I want to go back, I would just click on the star again. Now, if I want my brush settings for my favorite brush, I just left click here and then your brush settings appear. You can adjust any of your brush shapes, your size, and your spacing if you want to. Okay, so that's super nice. Okay, so how do I get out of this? I just left click on the star and then I go back. I'm just going to close this up. Okay, so that's super nice. Another way that you can see your brushes, right now I'm in tile view. I've got the little squares right here, or the bento box. Then if I want to see them where it's a list view, gives the name of the brush, gives a little icon of it. If I want to actually see a preview of the brush itself with no name, I left click on the last one right here and then I can see the brush stroke. Okay, I prefer tile view because you can see more of them. That's kind of what I'm used to. Another nice thing is you can search for a brush by, I know like I have a ton of watercolor brushes. So just type in water, look at all of them pop up. So nice. So then if I want to grab one and use it, it works out really well. So a lot of good things about this. I really like the organization. The one thing I would say is when I'm using my Wacom Cintiq and I'm trying to go between brushes with my actual pen, sometimes you have to double click it twice. It's almost like it doesn't register. And I don't know if quite yet if it's the angle or when I tap it, because I'm like tapping right on it and it just like doesn't seem to quite stick. So the two taps, it's not a deal breaker for me. At $15, I go like, I'll take that over having, unorganized brushes. So this is great. I would recommend it. If you know of any other extensions that you think work really well with your organizing brushes or with Photoshop, please comment in the bottom. But thanks for listening. I hope it really helps out your digital workflow. I know it helped me out with mine so that you can work faster and get things done within your deadlines. So thanks for listening. Bye.